Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to another Georgia Shooting Connection Friday night live stream. Hope y'all all had a good week. CW, how was your week, my brother?
Another glorious week. We had some really nice weather here. It looks like winter is broken. I hate to say it out loud because I know it's a jinx, but it looks that way. We've had a lot of 50s. It's still freezing overnight, but 20s or so, but really nice during the day. I got to the range once. Had a really good time, really long day. Got there early, stayed late. Got a lot of stuff done. Did about 5 videos. So had a really, really good time. I picked up a Grail this week. You're going to have to watch the videos to find out what it was. Grail is something I wanted for a long time. It's been on the list, and I found one. So added that to the bunch. So good times. Really, really good times. Mike, how was your week? How's the weather out there?
Hey, guys and girls. Oh, man, a good week. We warmed up around here, but, man, the wind came in. We've been getting those March winds. I mean, the last few days, and, I mean, they've been really, really full of it, too. I mean, just, you know, we got lucked out, got some storms kind of just missed us earlier today, and actually right now. So hopefully everything's good and we don't lose internet. But I did get outside at the end of the weekend, beginning of the week. Did a few things out there, but yeah, just looking forward to an awesome show here, guys and girls. Thank you so much for having me.
Good times, good times.
How about you, Rebel?
Every day I think of something else that I forgot for the groundhog shoot. Today it was porta potties. So I called and said, I know it's kind of late, but could you get 2 out there for me with hand sanitizer? They were like, yeah, no problem. So I forgot the little. We only had 2 people hit the egg at 500 yards last year. But I forgot their name plaques to put. We got a big plaque at the store, and I've even put a 2 by 4, a 2 foot by 4 foot annex board on it, stained really nice. And I forgot those 2 guys' names, and had them on the list and called, and hopefully they get here before the groundhog shoot, and I can get them mounted so they'll feel like they're memorialized on that plaque forever. It's weird. It's really important to people that happens, you know.
Yeah, it's an achievement. It's a status.
Yeah, that's right. It's something they can. If not, I'll just write their name out in crayon with a Post-it note and stick it on there.
That'll do.
Yeah, your plaque's coming soon. You know,
here's my IOU.
Mm-hmm.
Gene, how was your week?
My week was busy. I've been sorting out that 21,000 pounds of mixed grass we got in. Oof. It's been a work.
Find some neat stuff?
Yeah, I've been finding some neat stuff. My friend Javier that's moved up here from Florida, he's working with me, so he's doing a really, really good shop. Nice to have good company. You know, he's one of my best friends, and he's a good worker. So, hi, Mark. Haven't got much done. Well, I take that back. I got a bunch parts in for a project I'm doing, so there'll be a good video on it coming out here soon. Waiting on one more piece to come back to me. Probably have that next week, and so they have a video on that. Other than that, just really happy to be here. We're going to have a good Friday night. I got something really special for What's Hot Pot Got.
Very cool. Very cool.
What about you over there, Mr. Popcorn Eater?
Mr. Popcorn.
Make good popcorn, Andy.
I try. Just like that, like everybody else, busy week. My job was so slammed, it's ridiculous. And now we got infighting that like everybody thinks they're the boss. So it's one of those weeks. You can tell me what to do all you want. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. So because I'm your boss. And other than that, hello to everybody on the side chat. And just keep on loading. I've got next summer's 9mm all loaded up. This summer's done, and next summer's almost done. So
Yowza, you've been busy.
I just I do about 5,000 9s during my shooting. I mean, I have a lot of other guns I shoot, but I'm ahead now. So I mean, everything's ready for the year. I said I've got to keep busy. So I sent I broke my priming tool. Lee sent me the part for free. I sent them a bunch of pictures of where the part actually broke. That's the desktop primer they have. I call it the Rooster. And what actually happened inside, there's two little vertical, raised parts on the casting, and the piston that slides up and down is like T-shaped. So those are the stops. I went right through them. They wore through.
Yeah, I wore out 2 of those.
But
I figured that for what you pay for them, I just bought another one.
Well, they sent me this piece for free, so
Yeah, that's good.
I just called them up, told them what happened, and then when it was all said and done, and I took it apart, put the new one together, I saw exactly what happened. So I took a few pictures, highlighted the areas, sent it back to him. He said, "Oh, that's great information. The engineers are going to love this." So we'll see what happens.
Careful.
And that's it. Just keep them busy. I got about another, 1,000 or so 9s to go, and they'll have next year's done. And then I'll start on the rifle calibers for next year. I don't know what I'm going to do this coming winter coming up because I'll have it all done already.
You'll find something. Walter, how was it out in sunny California?
Well, it wasn't all that sunny this week. I spent most of the week indoors. It was sunny-ish on Monday, so I went to the range on Monday, and then it's been raining ever since. Not hard.
Rain in California?
Yeah, especially in this part. We get a lot of rain over in the Sierras, but this part of the state's mostly a desert, really. And so, we're lucky if we make 15, 16 inches of rain a year. We got half of that this week, I think. But anyway, so I had some bench projects, did some loading and a little bit of work on some molds. I spent the entire afternoon yesterday working on one old Hensley and Gibbs mold that I had just done a video with, that number 78. And I knew that the set screws for both the sprue plate stop and the sprue plate pivot bolt were frozen in place, and the sprue plate was too loose, so I wanted to get that set screw out of there. What a bummer. God, it took me all afternoon to get that thing out of there, and then I discovered I didn't have the right tap to go rethread the hole, so I had to order that. And not only that, but both the handle bolts were frozen too. I had never tried taking the handle off, so I busted one of the handle bolts trying to get it out. The other one I got out okay, but so I'm just going to replace those. Those old Hensley and Gibbs molds. You can use the RCBS handle bolts, either the pin and grub screw version or the old longer Allen screws. And those longer Allen screws, they're great. I prefer those anyway.
Those I like
but they go right into the Hensley and Gibbs. They're perfect. And I got a few extras. Every once in a while I'll buy a junker mold and just for the parts. So anyway, I got a little bit more work on that number 78 to do. And
you just had a video drop just before we came on the air, a couple hours ago.
I did a video. I got this 45 Schofield brass from one of my viewers over on Rumble, and I did an unboxing video of that and told that whole story. But I told him, I said, okay, thanks. We'll do a little series on 45 Schofield, because he didn't know too much about it. He just knew he wanted to start shooting it. Turned out that brass won't fit his revolver, which is kind of unusual these days. The older single action armies, some of them would work and others wouldn't. They all work in mine, but boy, it's close. So I did the first part of that video series today. It's kind of a fun one. Anyway,
For those that don't know, the 45 Schofield is the same diameter bullets, but the rims are a little bigger, and they don't fit in the old guns the same way. They're too big.
It's about 0.51 versus 0.52.
Yeah.
And
some guns it's just enough.
Yeah, if you had a a revolver that they didn't fit. You could load them every other one, but now you got a 3-shooter instead of a 5 or 6
Yep,
shooters.
yep.
Anyway, the Army figured that out. Anyway, so I told that whole story on
Yep.
the
I'm sure you did.
video today. So that's kind of it. I think the rain's done for a couple days. It's going to start again next week, though. So anyway, Mr. Kyle Lusk, his own self, is right here amongst us tonight. How'd things go for you this week, Kyle?
Oh, stranger.
They went. Hello, everybody. Good to see y'all.
Great to see you, Kyle.
It's good to be seen, brother. Good to see the side chat. Yeah, I've got the night off, so I'm excited to spend it with y'all. Taking care of the wife after her surgery and all that, and we're just getting by. So,
How's she doing, brother?
she's doing great, man. Thank you.
Good deal.
She's doing great. She's almost where she can eat something.
Boy.
Yeah, that liquid diet's kind of making her frustrated, and I'm just trying to be here for her. So
I can
She's
imagine.
been in my prayers, Carl. She's
I
been in my
appreciate it.
prayers.
I appreciate it, brother. Anyway, good to be seen. Who's next?
Mr. Chad, how you doing, man?
Kentucky Rimfire.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, brother.
I had a good week. The weather was nice for working outside building power lines, and I'm sitting here waiting for the phone to ring because we got some high winds and stuff coming through Kentucky, and I may very well get called out to work on some more power lines. But
Yep.
I did get some videos shot today. As a matter of fact, I posted one up today of
Yep.
the Bagara.
Yeah, was it good? Did it make the mustard? Yeah, I saw it.
Guns.
Nice gun.
Yeah, I got some people commenting saying that it's not going to live up to precision rimfire, but they're bad wrong. So, anyways, yeah, I got some videos out, and hey, I had a short this week for the EAA Windicator, and it hit 10,000 views in like 2 days.
Isn't that awesome?
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
So
While you hit it right. Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
So, anyways, thanks for having me on here tonight. As always,
also-
it's a pleasure.
You also started a chat last week. How'd that go for you?
Yes, looking forward to the side chat here tonight. I will be jumping off at about 9:30 Eastern Standard Time to get things in order for my show. We had our first show last week. It's called Let's Talk Bench Rest with Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies, and we had 41 viewers last week, which was
Awesome.
a great turnout. So we got a good topic to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about cleaning processes and cleaning tools and products, and so I'll be jumping off about 9:30 to get geared up for that. Sorry, Jamie, but
That's all right. That's all right. All good.
That's exactly what we're talking about tonight. So good luck, brother.
Awesome. If you don't
Y'all
mind if
might
I
give me
say
a-
something,
you might give
Real
me a
quick.
segue.
yeah. If you don't mind if I say something real quick, Jamie, he gets in a couple Smith & Wesson revolvers, he'll be putting those 22 rimfires in the closet.
No.
Well, I'll say this: I've owned EAA Vindicator, and those are pretty nice.
Oh,
Pretty nice little revolvers. I mean, they're not Smith and Wessons, but for the money, they're hard to beat, man. They're matter of fact, Mock MCK has the one that I used to own now, and I'm proud that he's got it. But before we get into
I've never been a brand snob. It's more about what fits my hand, and that gun
Well-
just felt good in my hand.
Don't forget, Smith & Wesson makes a Model 17 that shoots 22 long rifle. And
I
it
don't
comes
care
with
what-
a target model.
No, it's shooting 22. I mean, it can shoot 44, but
as long as it fits his hand good, right?
right.
Yeah.
Coming from a man that's got a North American arms in his pocket all the time.
You and me both, brother. You and me both.
Hey, me too.
So,
See, it's spreading.
Mark Thomas, how was your week, my brother?
Good week. It was a long one. I think that time change hit me worse this year than ever. Waking up and it being dark again just didn't.
Yeah,
didn't
it's
set
just
the mood
weird,
for the
isn't
day.
it? It just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
But did
But
we
it's been a good
save
one.
the daylight?
Well, we'll keep moving along and it'll change. It'll be all good. I haven't made any videos for quite a while. I haven't been to the range. I haven't been doing much. Just been very busy. I did have a little text exchange with CW earlier in the week. I found
Yes, you
something
did.
over the weekend that I really liked and I kind of wanted it. And I passed on the first round and I texted him and said, am I a fool? He told me he loved me, but yes, I was a fool. So I went back on Monday and I put down a deposit and put her on layaway. It's a beautiful, immaculate, almost looks completely unused 41 Magnum Contender. So
Oh boy.
Oh, hell yeah.
I can't wait to get that thing paid off and bring her home.
It's a great deal he got, not even counting the extras that he got with it. And he got lots of extras too. So it's
Yeah.
like even a better deal.
Yeah, it comes with a cool leather
Nice.
holster and a little bit of ammo. So there will be
Leopold
videos
scope.
to come. I can't wait to shoot some of those wad cutters that Viejo sent me through it.
You're gonna love it.
CW's our true friend. He didn't try to go buy that out from under you.
Thankfully, he's too far away. So great to be here. Thanks for having me. Great to be interacting there with the side chat. I'm trying to keep up. So let's just have ourselves a real nice Friday evening.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about, and we didn't conspire to bombard y'all with cleaning tonight. I have not talked to Chad about this. I talked to CW. He's in the. First thing I want to bring up is cleaning rods, and y'all can we'll go through the panel. And you guys on the side chat can put in what kind of cleaning rod you have. I have two major brand names that I like. And excuse me, let me grab this one thing off of the shelf up here. I need to show y'all this too while we're talking about cleaning rods. And a lot of your pistols that you buy nowadays will come with some sort of little cleaning rod. But I think the best for the money are probably the Tiptons.
Mm-hmm.
Tipton makes a good cleaning rod, and to me, something that's especially rifle cleaning rods that you really need are you need this in this handle right here. You need to have that ball bearing right there. You need to be that needs to be able to turn in your hand, and then your brush or your wad or your patch needs to be able to follow the rifling down, and that's important. Tipton is probably my favorite for the money. My absolute favorite, though, and they're not terrible, but they're a little more pricey, and that's these
The
JC.
Deweys. Yep. They're made right
Deweys,
here.
yeah.
local.
These are, to me, the best of the best,
Mhm.
in
Yep.
my humble opinion. And then I inherited this little brass rod that
Mm-hmm.
I used to clean pistols with, but it doesn't have that ball bearing. But one of the questions CW asked me, do you clean your handguns different than you clean your rifles? And well, there's a lot more involved. You have to do a lot more destruction. I meant disassembly, but yeah, I think it comes with the territory. Edward Petty says he's got rods from 50 years ago. Big Al used the Tiptons with the clamp. My cleaning rod is a dog fennel stem. I don't know what that means, and I feel like I should. Old rig
That's a-
with a core.
That's
Is
a
that
weed.
called kennel?
No, dog fennel's a weed.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
To each his own, I guess.
Tipton with the clamp. I also have a old rig with a bore guide. Bore snakes can ruin a crown. Never use them. That is a fact that we're going to get into in just a few minutes after we call out the side chat at the bottom of the hour, Big Al. Okay, what are you guys are using? CW?
I like the Dewey rods as well. I like a one-piece rod, but I've kind of gotten away from the coated rods. There's a lot of different opinions that people have. You know, a lot of can say you don't want aluminum rods, you don't want brass rods because they can embed, they can pick up things and it'll scratch and scour your bore. The best thing is a polished steel rod that's correct diameter for your bore, so you get cleaning rods by caliber. But it gets expensive, you know. So maybe for your best guns you get specialized stuff, and the other ones you use the other stuff. But you know, like everybody else, we started out with the kits with the pieces, and you put the tip on it, and then you can do pistols, and you put a couple extra inserts in there, and you can do rifles, and change the tip on the end there, and you can do shotguns because they're different threads. Yeah, mostly I like a one-piece rod, the correct length for the barrel, and I like it to be polished. Dewey makes all kinds. Tipton makes all kinds. There's a lot of other good manufacturers out there with the ball bearings in them, and there's some real specialized ones as well. But that's what I like. Now I do use bore snakes for some things, but like Tommy says, you know, the best designed made thing can be used wrong and can cause damage. So you got to use things properly for them to work properly to get the correct results from them.
Absolutely. What about it, Hillbilly?
Mostly just use a stick I carved off of a tree, but no. No, I still have like, and yeah, you got to push that, you know, hammer it down through there, you know, that cleaning mud. But no, I still have like little cleaning kits. I'm sure it probably came from Walmart. That I think I got when I was like 14 or 15 for Christmas, you know, for my, you know, 22 at the time. I still have that. I used that for several years. They had the different rods in it and brushes and swabs and everything. But I do have a Tipman. And then I use quite a bit. But depends on if I'm cleaning a pistol, rifle, if it's bolt action, you know, whatever. And like for the ones that's not a bolt action where I can pull the bolt out on the rifle, I like the basically it's a cord with a swivel handle on the end of it. I can push it in there, get it out, and it's got, you know, the threading on the end, so I can put on whatever I need to and, you know, pull it through. You know, so like it kind of depends on what I'm cleaning, you know, really.
Yeah, I agree with CW. I like those one-piece rods. Rebel, what about you, bro?
J. Dewey, period. Coated, non-coated. The way I scrub a bench rest gun, I mean, if you go far enough to get a vise that you can take with you to the range to scrub between relays, you want a rod that's going to hold up. So I've got a 22 rod because I don't have a 17 in my arsenal anymore, and I've got a 243 rod that's a lot stiffer. They're both coated. I do have a 17 rod that is stainless steel, but if you use the right brush and a bore guide, you don't have any problems out of that. And I keep a pistol rod just to scrub out the chamber and get out the carbon fouling and the throat, because that requires some special attention.
Yeah, we want to get into that later too. Mr. Hot Pot.
Me, I prefer the Big Shot cleaning kit. Got
I've
these at
actually got
Walmart.
one of those.
This is they mispriced them at my Walmart for $5 a piece.
Wow.
And I bought them out and I gave them out. I kept one for myself. It's just a good universal. If you need to clean anything and you're a tightwad like I am, you'll just get the Big Shot. No, I'm not a brand whore on anything. I got a couple cleaning rods. I got one carbon fiber rod I use for rifles, especially for my 308 and my 6.5. Anything with longer barrel on it. As far as pistols and stuff, it's just kind of like odds and ends. It works for me. You know, I've got a handle that turns with a different rod on it with different tips for it. And it's been a conglomeration of all the different cleaning kits I've bought and would just find the pieces that I like out of it. And that's what I dedicate for my cleaning bag, especially my range bag that I take to events like USPSA and IDPA. You know, that bag is a little hodgepodge, but everything in there suits my purpose. You know, whether it's a nylon brush, a brass brush, whether it's aluminum rod, brass rod, coated rod, carbon fiber rod. It's just, yeah, like Elvis said, I just do it my way.
As long as it's working.
It all works good. I use 2 specific solvents that I find work great for me. Other people use other things, but
Very good. Very good.
that's all I got to say about that. If you can, though, pick you up. If you just need a general cleaning kit, pick you up a Big Shot.
Very cool. Very cool. Dr. Zink, what kind of cleaning rods do you use, brother?
Well, for my rifles, I have the Deweys, just two different ones. And I forget the name of the company that makes the brushes that I use, the brass and plastic brushes or nylon brushes that go on the end.
Pro Shot?
I'd have to look it up. I don't. No, it's funny. I don't keep things in my head that way. It's not important to me. As long as I buy the good stuff to start with, I don't have to deal with it. Pistol, it's actually an old kit that I had from when I was about 12. You could use it for rifle or shotgun. I mean, a rifle or pistol. Just put different rods on it with the ball bearing handle in general. But I don't have to do much down my barrels because the zinc does that for me. All I got to do is put a patch down to clean some of the carbon out of it, a little oil, and I'm done.
Yeah. If you clean them regular, it don't take a whole lot. Walter, can we go through the side chat before I get to you?
Yeah, let's do it.
What should we type in?
I'm thinking just clean. How about that?
That'd be great. So type in clean and we'll call your name out on TV. Andy said Rod.
He's a rod boy anyway. Look what's behind him.
That's what I'm talking about. I like the picture that he's got where the car is a little more offset.
Yeah.
And the front wheels are off the ground and the back tires are just wrinkled from grabbing track.
My ACO picture. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously Walter is first and he's on the panel. Reloading from the hot pot was next and he's on the panel also. CW Longshot, Andy 79Z28, Mike Hester, Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies and Kyle Lusk are all on the panel tonight, and we're glad to have each and every one of them. Let's see. Where did I get to? Rollis Carvelis is out there. Mark Thomas is also on the panel. Tommy Boy's out there. Andre D'Angelo, Service Venator, Tactical Fudd, Preacher's Day Off, Edward Petty. Hillbilly Up is on the panel also. Alaska One Andy's out there. Rich B, Dwayne 7834, Walks Fletcher, James Pugh, Bobby Barlow, Rollis Carvelis, the Gun Genius, 3 Jeep Discovery, Big Al, Old One Guy, Thoughts of an Old Soldier, Crash, Ron 2A Matters, Papa's Place, Harm, Fuku YT, Casey Dolph, GGW Outdoors, My Brother, Go Dogs.
Sick 'em
And
with.
Texas 6 is out there. He's still eating supper. And, well, he was a few minutes ago. Hopefully he's done by now. Big Al says thumbs up, please. We appreciate that. That helps the algorithms and gets us seen by more folks. And I think we're up to date. We're showing we have 45 in the side chat watching, and we are happy to have you all join us. And I want to say quickly, before we get to what Walter's using for a cleaning rod, how much I particularly appreciate and enjoy the company of all the members of the panel members that are on here this evening. And if it was just me sitting here trying to talk to 45 people, that would be
Interesting.
yeah. A one-sided conversation with a narrow-minded wall. Great song, by the way. Go for it, Walter. Tell us about your cleaning rods.
Well, as you guys know, I shoot mostly handguns. I do have some long guns, and I've got primarily Tipton rods. I'm trying to think if I have. I think I have one Dewey in there, and it might be for the rimfire, or one of the rimfire rifles. Anyway, I've got more than I need. Let's put it that way. For my handguns, a little different story. I have one Tipton, and I have that same brass rod that you showed, Jamie, and I use that on my handguns, but just for the patches. Yeah, because
Like that.
yeah, I'll run my patches in and out with that one. And then with the revolvers, since you got to kind of go in from the front end on them, I hate doing that. But the cleaning rod that I use for those guys, I have a bore guide, a brass conical shaped bore guide on there, and every stroke I gently stick that bore guide up there first to keep that cleaning rod from bouncing around the crown area. That's always kind of a scary thing for me, because I don't want to ding up those crowns. But that bore guide works pretty good for that, and it keeps that rod going back and forth in there pretty straight. So yeah, I think the worst ones are the aluminum multi-piece ones, because they've got that joint in them, and that joint always seems like it wants to unscrew itself. And a lot of them don't have either a swivel or a ball bearing in them, and so your brush is prone to back itself out of there halfway down your barrel. I've had that happen before on some of those ones that I used to use. But anyway, so yeah, kind of a smattering, depends on what I'm doing. I do like the one-piece Tipton rods for my long guns. With the few bolt actions that I have. Of course, it's handy to pull the bolt all the way out. My Henrys, you got to take the lever off to come in through the breech. But that's not a hard job at all. There's one little piece that just loves to fall down to the garage floor when you're doing that. But but other than that, they're not bad, as long as you keep track of that little ejector piece that's there. So yeah, real simple, nothing thrilling, nothing outrageously priced or overly high end or anything like that. Stuff that works.
So
where are we at?
We're fixing to go to Kyle, but I'll tell y'all that I have 3 different lengths of these Tiptons, and one of them's for pistol too. But so Kyle, what are you using for cleaning rods, buddy?
Well, depends on what I'm cleaning. I've got a Dewey rod with a, like Walter said, a bore guide for my 308 and 30-06. When it comes to like ARs and shotguns and pistols, I like the Otis setup with the coated cables. Very easy to use. Somebody who has not come forward yet, I don't even know if they're still with us, got me the complete Otis kit, the one that comes in like a toolbox. So I've got all kinds of different length cables, and there's some cleaning rods in there and all the brushes and all that stuff. And like Walter was saying, that little ejector can be a booger in a Henry. But yeah, I've got one dedicated rod for most of my long guns, and then the rest of them I just use the Otis setup. It works great.
Count us down, Walter. We have a sighting.
Here we go. On 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Mario!
Hit it, Gene.
West Coast weirdo.
There he is. How much fun. Good to see you, Mario.
All right, Mr. Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies, what kind of cleaning rods are you using?
Well, I have a Tipton and a Pro Shot for my 22s. I keep the Tipton in my vehicle. It's a one-piece rod. And I got, this is for larger calibers. It won't fit my 22s, but you was talking about a ball bearing. This one's this one's from Gunslick, and that's a ball bearing.
Yep.
No,
What I
that
mean.
ain't a ball bearing, dude. That's one of them toys like the kids have. What
I
they call
walked-
those things?
I walked in a gun store on a Saturday afternoon, and they had a table there of clearance items, and I bought 6 one-piece rods for $1 a piece.
Ooh,
Lord have mercy. Oh. Yeah, I have a lot of those too.
Gotta love ollies.
That looks like a nice one, man. It really does. What size is the shaft on that ball bearing thing?
I don't see a size on it anywhere. I know it won't fit a 22.
Dude, you got calipers right there.
We can see them.
Yeah. Let me dig them out.
I hate to be that way, but no, I really don't. It makes for pretty good TV.
Gotta love ollies. Ah, Lord.
You want it in inches or millimeters?
Inch.
This is America, sir. We use
Right.
inches.
Right.
.233. Well, actually, 0.233.
243 rod, probably.
Yeah.
But that was $1.
You can't beat it with a stick.
I'll take
No.
10 of those right now.
How much are the cleaning rods? She said $1 a piece. I said I'll take them all.
Right.
So, if I don't have a rod handy at the range, I keep this in my range bag. This is a patch worm, and it's a nylon. It's a nylon cord, and it's got little different per size of the barrel, and you poke that through your patch and pull it through the barrel.
No, that's weed eater line, dude.
It's basically weed eater line. Yes, it's what it is. You're not kidding.
That's kind of the same principle as the Otis kid.
You know what? I wish I'd have thought of that.
well, those are really good for air guns, because if you don't know it, you shouldn't be running brushes and rods in your air guns. The steel is much softer, and you should be running like a line like that, a nylon line with a patch just tied on or burred on like that one is, and that's a lot safer for your air gun barrels.
And if the weeds have grown up around your target,
Yeah, ready to go.
Mark's got it. Mark's got it. Woo, woo, woo,
Yeah.
woo, woo, woo.
Yeah. Just turn into Thor. Yeah. Meow.
Yeah, Crash said, "Ha ha, beat me to it." Yeah, man, it's like some of these things are so simple, they're obvious as crap, and you're like, these people are getting rich doing this in this weed eater line with a piece of brass on it, and you stick a patch on it, and why didn't I think of that? Golly. Anyway, Mark Thomas, what are you using for? What's your favorite kind of cleaning rods?
Well, I do have a couple of one piece. I actually do have a 177 coated rod for the air rifles, but that one Olympic AR I have is really tight, and a regular 22 rod just doesn't want to go in there, so I use that for that as well. A whole smattering of pieces and parts from kits that I've had for the years and broken pieces, and a couple of shotgun rods. Of course, I have some muzzleloader sticks, but something else that I carry in my range bag, I started doing a couple of years ago, especially with the single shot rifles. When you get cases stuck, if I don't want to bring a whole rod with me, I keep a couple of sections about 2.5 inches long of 1/4 inch dowel rod. They're just kind of tucked into a pocket in my range bag. And if I have to, I can pull them out and just start sticking them down in there.
Smart.
And,
Yeah.
You get 4 or 5 of them, down in there, and you can push out whatever case is stuck, and you don't have a whole rod taking up space in your bag.
Don't get me and Jamie talking about dowel rods.
Shut up, Kyle. Scotsman ain't here tonight.
And I do have a couple of bore snakes, both the string type and a couple of the cable type, some of the Otis ones. So it just depends on what I'm working on and what the situation is. I've got options.
I did forget. I have a couple of military M60 rods that are steel, that are screwed together, and I use those for muzzleloader because it requires a good scrubbing, and they're long though. They're like 50 inches long.
I keep them in all my range bags, just to have.
Yeah,
Something else is that I keep. I started with the 3-gun. When I started shooting 3-gun, was squib rods. I can't tell you how many times I use that on a line in those matches.
Mm-hmm.
Bullets stuck in the barrel.
yeah.
Brass rods that are close to diameter. I had a 35 for the 9mm, and I had a 40 and a 45. They're all about 18 inches long, so they'll all work for any length pistol barrel. Give you enough to get your hand on it, and they work great.
So what do you want to talk about next, CW?
Well, here's something. It always comes up. We talk about solvents, and what's the solvent that brings you back? A lot of people say the outers or the
Hoppies.
the other one, poppies. For me, it's the outers. It's all what you grew up with, For me, it was outers. My pop always had those red tin outers kits, and it was outer solvent that takes me back.
I have some outers and I have hoppies. I got the hoppies,
About to say, we know where Jamie's about to go with this one.
but I also have this stuff.
He doesn't do much cleaning.
Ed's red.
Ed's red. Yeah.
Those bottles are kind of small. He doesn't do much cleaning.
Well, if you've ever made Ed's red, you'll know you get it by the gallon.
Yep.
You're
You
going to
gotta
have
get smaller containers.
I've got a 2.5 gallon gas can in the basement full of it.
Yeah, let's address oil. Tommy Boy says oil 3-in-1. I got 3-in-1, but my favorite for my guns, especially my lever actions, and I don't know why, is this stuff.
Mineral? I can't read it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
mineral oil, I was going to say, is the base of a lot of
Yeah.
oil that you use
I
today.
think REM
especially
oil is
glycerin.
one that's almost all mineral oil.
Yeah,
Maybe
and you're paying
might have something
a
else in it.
premium for the fancy name, but that's really what you're getting.
Yeah.
And it works fine.
Yeah, Walter and I know
Most
we've been
cases, I
using it on our molds for forever, and it's really nice.
I think Kroll is a lot like Edge Red. It's got some ATF in it. But for my bench risk guns, Montana Extreme Carbon Killer or Copper Killer, and I use a product by Kroll called Creen that is you pour it in an engine. It's supposed to clean the carbon out of your pistons. It does a really good job of cleaning carbon out of a throat. I mean, you still got to use a bronze brush. And if you use a Montana Extreme, you better wash that bronze brush off, because if you're using a 6mm bronze brush and you don't wash it off, it'll be a 22 by tomorrow. It eats
Something I do
copper.
is carb cleaner. I take my brushes after I use them and hose them out with carb cleaner.
Mm-hmm. That's what I do.
yeah, there's a host of CLPs, and I've got them. I've got, y'all got to remember, you think when I'm preaching at you, Edge Red and mineral oil is all you really need. It ain't like I'm uneducated. I got Professor Pugh. I did a video on that stuff. Breakthrough, Battleborn, CLP. I mean, I've used this stuff. I've tried it, but I keep coming back to the Edge Red and the mineral oil.
But when you own a $1,500 bore scope for the shop, it tends to tell you things. And I tell people all the time, if you buy an expensive factory gun, do not come to me and want to bore scope the barrel, because you're going to cry. You're going to see all kind of machine marks. You're going to see especially a Savage. You're going to see chatter. You're going to see this. You're going to see that. While the thing shoots, hey, that's the shooting gods. Whatever. I mean, it's one of those things. You know, even a custom barrel, a Krieger, a Brooks, a Bartland. You run a bore scope down in there, and you're seeing sheets of copper 4 inches long after you break the rifle in, or the barrel in, and you're like, oh my God, this thing's coppering up bad. Well, clean it. Just clean it. And a nylon brush ain't going to get it. You're going to have to get in there and use some real solvent and dig after it. The beauty of Edge Red and Kroll is it tends to get under fouling. You know, it's a penetrant. So to use that first and then use a copper killer, which will blow your head off. Do not use that in the kitchen or the living room, for God's sake. Your wife will kill you. It's ammonia. It's different from sweets. The type of ammonia that used to be in sweets, I don't know about the modern sweets, will actually harm your barrel, etch your barrel. If you leave it in there, you can leave Montana Extreme in there overnight. And the cool thing about owning a shop that's almost 45 years old is that the original owner said, you realize that Copper Killer was invented right here up in Granite Falls, North Carolina. And I said, no, you're lying. And he went, He went, yeah, it was. And I said, why is it called Montana Extreme then? And he said, this guy was a bench shooter and he was a chemist and he came up with this stuff and he went around and peddled it out of his car and it finally got the attention of some bench shooters. And then Western Powders bought it out. That's a nice retirement check, you know?
That's a cool story, man.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, I'm like, so it started the same place Sundrop started. You know, I've never tried to pour Sundrop down my barrel, but and I'm not going to either. But that Montana Extreme's good stuff. You got to watch what you do with it, because if you're using a nylon brush and if it doesn't have any brass on it, it's not going to tell you a lie. But if you got anything that's got any brass on it, it's going to keep coming out blue, keep coming out blue, keep coming out blue. And you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get all what's eating the brass. It's eating the base of the brush.
It's eating the brush.
Yeah, right. It's eating the brush. So try to use a nylon brush with it or something that's relatively easy on the barrel. A chrome plated jag is what I use. And it does a real good job. The carbon's a different story. That takes a lot of, you got to remember, it's a baby diamond in the works. So in your barrel. So it's hard.
As far as cleaners, I much prefer gels and foams to liquids. And the reason for that is they simply stay in contact with the corrosion longer, so they work better.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they're really a better product per se. The liquids just run off. So if you can get the liquid to stay, like if you could plug the end of your barrel and fill it up, the liquids would work really good too. But the foams and the gels, they don't run. They stay stuck. They stay on the corrosion, so they can work better than liquids. And that's what I like.
CW, the first time I used that Gunslick product with the foam,
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap. I used too much. It was messy.
Yeah.
You know, I had a pound cake
that
at
stuff
the end of
almost
the barrel.
expands. It almost expands. It's like using that foamy stuff, you know. You squirt it in one end, and before you know it, you got a big ball coming up your action, or the other way around.
Right. So I walked away from it and I come back and it was blue. It was, indigo blue. It was in copper.
I truly believe it's not that it's a much better chemical or anything other than it just simply stays in contact. It's simply the stuff Kyle got there has been around for quite a while. I like the original stuff, but I don't like the newer stuff so much. It hasn't been as good as it was back in the 80s. Back in the 80s, that stuff was like brand new and it was like the shit. But today I don't find it as good as one of the original CLPs.
Yeah. The Montana Extreme, though, if you unscrew it and stick your nose down on it,
yeah, you're gonna fall over fainted.
You're gonna fall
nasty.
over. It's nasty, but it does a good job. You know.
Yeah.
All right, we're up to Hillbilly on solvents. Hillbilly going once.
Where you at, Hillbilly?
He went to get another white seltzer.
All right, Kyle, what kind of solvents you like, brother?
Depends on what I'm cleaning. I love Edge Red on my lever guns and revolvers. But for semi-automatics, I prefer Frog Lube, to be honest with you. I've got 2 ARs in the safe, both of them with about 500 rounds through them. One with, I'm just using 2 of them as a test. One with Edge Red and one with Frog Lube. And I haven't had a failure out of either one of them, but one day, Jamie, we're going to have to do some mag dumps, see if we can't get a failure.
We can probably do that, man.
But as far as decoppering, I've used the sweets. It works great, but yes, do not use it indoors. Of course, my bottle's, I don't know, about 7 years old probably, so it may be the old formula. But this BCF from Break Free, it's the foam like CW was talking. It'll stick to everything. And it says right on the bottle. Of course, you got to get your reading glasses out to read it, but do not let it sit in the gun for more than 15 minutes. Stick a patch in one end, fill it up with that foam, stand it up in the corner. After 15 minutes, you better be cleaning. I know Frog Lube's coconut oil, but it works, and it smells good. My wife likes it.
Well, there's just no way that can be as good as Ed's Red.
If I rub Hoppy's number 9 behind my ears, my wife will jump me right now.
Hey,
Well,
Rebel,
what are
Rebel,
you doing sitting here and talking about it?
I'm tired. I'm tired.
Now,
That's what she said.
This goes to Edward Petty's comment. Some people love it, some people hate it, and it's all on if you're using it the right way. A little goes a long way. Most of the time, people use too much, and they're using the paste instead of the liquid, and you'll end up getting hydraulic lock. Like on a Glock, if you use too much of the paste, the firing pin won't go forward.
I think all of them, like pretty much what Crash is saying. Thorough flush, thorough clean for barrel seal, P for action. Super lube silicone grease for slick up.
Yep.
I mean, he's got his stuff sorted out there. I think
Anybody
that-
use a Lucas product? Lucas Extreme Oils is awful good on ARs as
Well, I've
well.
been wanting to.
The Lucas heavy duty oil stabilizer is really good on ARs too. But
Well, they've
it's
got a gun cleaning or a gun lubing line that they've got a regular oil which is pretty slick, and then they have an extreme, and there you go, Kentucky. They've got an extreme which is green, and that stuff is it's slicker than owl poop on a green log.
I've used a heavy duty oil stabilizer in an AR before, and I mean it's like you say, it's slicker than owl snot, but it tends to attract dirt.
Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this?
Go ahead.
Yep.
Yep.
Amen, Pistol Pete.
Hey man, he's got me crying laughing over here.
Well,
Dirty feet.
I always considered Ballistol more of a coating than a lube. So, like if you rub it down on a barrel, water will beat up on it. You know, it's like you just waxed your car. But I don't. Of course, I say that, and I spilled some on my gunroom floor, and I slipped on that spot for 2 months. So.
One of my favorite corrosion resistant stuff, and it offers some lubrication as well, is Ezox. It was mentioned in the side chat, and I got the same stuff as Jamie there, and a couple of other of us got it as well. That pew pew, and I chose to do a test that was done for me back in the '80s when I was in a gun shop for the first time, working in a gun shop for the first time. And the guy walked in off the street, and he had a board with some nails in it, and he had a bottle with some salt water, and he had us use whatever oils we liked, wiping them down on these nails.
Yeah.
And he had one that was untreated and one that he did with Ezox. And he spritzed that with the salt water. And then we kept it. He didn't take it. We kept it. We put it up on top of the safe in the corner. And he came back in like 2 weeks, and he was true as gold. I mean, I did it here, and that board sat out on the roof of my shed for probably 6 months, and those damn nails with that Ezox did not rust in that time outside in outside conditions around the clock for like 6 months. They just started to show little bits of tarnish, and absolutely no pitting, just little bits of tarnish coming. Just the stuff is amazing. I can't say enough good about it. Now, as far as what it lubes like, I can't comment so much. I mean, I use it. It seems good to me. It does dry. It doesn't stay wet, and it does coat. But I'll stand by it. I love it. I've used it since then, and I will always, always, always have it in my cabinet. Always, always, always.
CW, I think I remember this conversation from the old 300 blackout days, but I'll take a new AR build and soak the bolt carrier and bolt in 0W5 synthetic motor oil mixed with a little ATF. And when I run an AR for the first time that I've built, I'll wear an old t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I get it all over me.
Sure.
But it never fails. I mean, it never fails.
There's a lot of guys who say, when you first start an AR, and of course we're talking about lower budget builds. If you run them wet, just keep soaking them and wet and run them, and they'll smooth out, and then you won't need to do it ever. But you won't need to do it as much. You won't need to keep it that wet. But when you start them out, it makes a big difference. Makes a big difference. But give that Ezox, EEZOX. It's a camouflage green can. You can get it liquid. I mean, you can get it, oiler cams or spray bottles. And it's good. It's not cheap, but it's good stuff.
Okay, where we get to? I think we're down to Walter. Then Andy.
I've tried a whole bunch of different stuff and to see if any of them work any better than what I normally use. And it's like CW was saying earlier, some of it is kind of what you grew up with. And way back, I haven't bought any of this stuff in like a Walmart or any of those kinds of places in a long time, but you always got a kit in a little metal box, either from Outers or from Hoppies, and you had some cleaner and some screw together rods and some kind of a lubricant and stuff in those kits. But I kind of stayed with Hoppies number 9 just because that's mostly what I used when I was younger. That's what I was available when I was working with the sheriff department. That's what they used, so I got a lot of it free. And had it available. But I do also use Ed's Red, partly because I'm such a cheapskate. I think that's part and parcel of being a reloader in the first place. It's not the whole reason, of course, but Ed's Red is just dog cheap to make. And like we were mentioning earlier, you can make a gallon and you make 4 gallons of that stuff for not a whole lot of money, and that's about a lifetime supply for most of us probably. Yep. So I do like it, and it does work. And I've used it for all kinds of other things. Sometimes you get a used mold, for example, that somebody else has had a lot of gunk caked on it in the name of preserving it. And I've got a little glass jar full of Ed's Red, and I'll let that thing soak in there for a couple of days, and then all that gunk just comes right off of there. It's a good one. It really does work. It'll eat its way through some of the plastic containers. You got to pay attention to what kind of container you put it in.
I bought quart, those quart paint cans. That's where I put mine and bought them from the hardware store. But I made up 4 gallons of that stuff.
I did the first time I made it, and I'm still working on that batch. And I probably made that easy 10 years ago. It might have been more than that. I don't know.
I gave away half of it and still using it.
Yep, he gave me some of it.
So the stuff does work, and it's readily available. Raw materials that you can go get at the hardware store or the grocery store. Sometimes auto parts stores round that stuff up.
You can get everything at Home Depot.
Yep. And so that's kind of it for me as far as lubricants go. These days, I'm just using mineral oil. And absent the occasional need, every once in a while, I'll get crazy stupid and do a traditionally lubed cast bullet and get a little bit of lead down in the barrel. And then I like that Montana stuff. It's as harsh smelling as it is. It'll get in there and get underneath little bits of lead deposits, and makes it really easy to clean. You just got to be careful using it. But that doesn't happen much anymore with powder coated cast bullets, so not a big problem. As far as we're not talking about carbon fouling yet, are we? We're going to talk about that separate?
We're probably going to have to do that next week, but yeah, well, something that copper and leading is something. Yeah, we're not going to get done tonight. And
that's a whole that's a whole stuff that sticks in your barrel. How do you get rid of it? So that's a whole nother topic.
And
so
the carbon
I'll leave
right there in the lead of your barrel. That's stuff that's problem stuff. Maybe that we'll talk about that next week.
Good idea.
Like I said, that's baby diamonds, and if you're doing precision stuff, and it can all of a sudden you're like, why am I not seating my bullet? Why am I seating my bullet deeper? Well, it's because carbon fouling. You know?
Or you're at the range and shooting a whole bunch of 38 special, and all of a sudden you decide, well, I want to finish off with some 357 magnums, and they won't go in your chamber, in your cylinder. You go, so what do you do with that?
Exactly, Glenn Davis. The stuff right here.
There you go.
Lubricant laxative. So it's good for more than just your gun oil.
But you can lubricate your own self with it.
It keeps things moving, Glenn.
What you're saying is it gets the S out.
I'll keep a bottle of that in case a dog gets stove up, and I've had to give it to a dog more than once, and God Almighty, you better take them out quite often.
Okay, we're late for. Gene, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Whenever you are. We can finish this up.
It's time for What's Hot Pot Got. Let's see what he's got for us tonight, and then we'll get to Andy. And,
I was rocking out to that song. That's one of my favorite tunes from a local band. Let's see what's Hot Pot got tonight. How y'all doing out there? Hope everybody's going to have a good weekend. I brought this.
I'm scared.
The family show, Gene.
Johnny went to the rodeo. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it at that. This I found come out of the machine, and this is actually a beanbag round for a 12-gauge shotgun for non-lethal defense.
Ow.
This is what it looks like outside the shell. It's tucked down. It's coiled like that because it's actually tucked down inside the shell into the wad before it's fired. Boom. So let me tell you a little about this. I've been finding quite a few of these. We got Cincinnati, Ohio Police Department brass in, and it was littered with these that they're using for practice on their range. So this,
I'll take them.
This bag of wads here. Sorry, guys. A beanbag round, also known as the trademark name, the flexible baton round.
Keep it straight, G. Keep it straight.
Is a type of baton round fired from a shotgun and used for less lethal apprehension of suspects. The beanbag round typically consists of a small fabric pillow filled with number 9 lead shot. Number 9 lead shot came out of one of them.
Far out.
Ow.
The lead shot weighs approximately 40 grams or 1.4 ounces of lead shot comes out of this. It is fired from a normal 12 gauge shotgun. When fired, the bag's expelled at around 230 to 300 feet per second. It spreads out in flight and distributes the impact over a 6 square centimeter, 1 square inch of the target. It is designed to deliver the blow that will cause minimal long-term trauma and no penetration, but will result in a muscle spasm or other reaction to briefly render a violent suspect immobile. It can cause serious injury or death. Shotguns dedicated to being used for beanbag rounds are often visibly modified with either yellow or green markings or bright orange stocks and stops to reduce the possibility that a user might inadvertently load lethal munitions into the weapon. A beanbag round can severely injure or kill in a wide variety of ways. They have caused around 1 death a year since their introduction into the U.S. A round can hit the chest, break the ribs, and send the broken ribs into the heart. A shot to the head can break the nose, crush the larynx, or break the neck or skull of the subject.
Doesn't sound fun.
Pretty neat, though. I mean, if you had to have something that's less than lethal around, say in your house, and you want to load a bunch of these into your shotgun, that'd be one way to not have to do something you didn't want to do, but still defend yourself. And that's where police are using these for some riot control. There was a lady here not too long ago who actually it did penetrate a lady and she did die. So they can be lethal close up. They're usually only good for around 20 to 30 feet. They can go up to 70 feet out, but they're not going to be effective at that range.
Right.
So
Wonder why the shotguns are different.
No, they just have specialty markings on them. You can shoot them through a standard 12 gauge shotgun, but the shotguns the police use are marked to identify them, so they do not inadvertently put lethal rounds into that shotgun.
I'm wondering why.
Well,
so they know what they're shooting.
If they grab it in a hurry, they know it's less than lethal.
Yeah, because it's going to be brightly marked. And if they pay attention to it, they're going to grab that instead of something filled with slugs into a crowd. That wouldn't go over very well with the attorneys, I don't think. That's what tonight for the projectile part of it. Side of it, public ammunition. We're doing everything we can to keep the prices to a minimum down. My boss has been hunting. We get small amounts of different powders and primers in every day just because he's finding it at a good price. So we're doing everything we can to keep the price reasonable for all of our reloaders out there. That's all I got.
That's enough, man.
Thank you, sir.
That's very good. Very good. Yeah, that less than lethal ammo is, yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I think we all don't want to have to take a person's life, but they're trying to take yours, or you wouldn't be thinking about it. So I don't know.
I saw a video of a cop shoot a driver's side window out with one of those, and then he sent in the Malinois through the hole. Yeah, that guy came out. When that hair missile went in through the broke glass, yeah, he came out.
I've seen Malinois make their own hole and drag a guy out of the window by his, shall we say, beanbag.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He was extremely compliant at that point.
Yeah, there were more beanbags involved in the video I saw than just the one that came out of the barrel. So,
yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, Dr. Zink, what kind of solvents do you like, my brother?
Well, I use, believe it or not, for my carbon, I use, what do they call that stuff now? Oh, it's a car product. Oh Oh damn! It's like you add it to your gas, and it's
Oh, heat?
no, not heat. No. It's
Cream?
just
Seafoam.
there it is.
Yeah. There you go.
Seafoam. If you take that and like put it on a ball of cotton or whatever, and you just dab it into the rifling at in the at the chamber there, and you just let it sit for 10-15 minutes. And I just use a patch or a brass brush, and it comes right off. But see, I clean that section of my rifle after every time I go shooting, so I don't get a buildup.
Right.
Pistol's a little different, like Viejo said. You get those stupid carbon rings in your cylinder from 38s. So that isn't an issue if you mostly shoot 38s. Then you want to load 357. You go, huh? So, but I just have a little hammer. I tap them in with. They work fine that way. But the Seafoam works pretty good. Something else that works if you haven't tried it, Marvel Mystery Oil. Okay, also does a lot of good cleaning.
The joke there is, what is that stuff? Well, we can't tell you. It's a mystery.
Yep, but it's almost, believe it or not, it's not. Put a little kerosene in it, and it's almost that
Very Ed's Red-esque.
Yeah. But again, I clean mine every time when I come home. I clean the chambers on all my guns, so I don't really have a buildup issue. As far as worrying about copper or lead fouling in my barrels, I'll tell you what, guys. Ever since I started shooting zinc, and I'll go out to the range and I'll shoot 100 rounds of lead stuff because I'm just trying to get rid of it. I don't want to just melt it down. I spent too much time casting it and powder coating it. I'll shoot lead, and I finish up after that. I'm shooting zinc. The barrel comes out super clean. And the same with jacketed stuff. You go to the range and you shoot 100 rounds, and you look down your barrel, you'll see a little copper here and there, nothing major, but shoot 5 rounds of zinc down there and it's gone. So zinc is amazing. When I sent my Deruga PCC off to Ruga, the guy asked me, how do I keep my barrel so clean? I says, you don't want to know. You guys don't like to hear about reloads. And he goes, you have a reload that cleans your barrel? I go, well, I have a bullet that cleans it, And I was talking to him about zinc. He was very interested. So he has a couple 100 9mm zinc bullets that I sent him.
I've heard that from several people. You shoot your lead or your jacketed or whatever, and then run about 5 or 10 rounds of zinc through there, and you ain't even got to clean it when you get home.
Yeah, seriously. And all I do is a little Hops 9 on a patch, up and down the barrel, let it sit 5 minutes. Okay, one brush through, down and out, and then patches to clean it out, and I'm done. I mean, it's and that's just more powder fouling than anything else.
Right.
I mean, but they were amazed that he says we measured your barrel and all this stuff. We wanted to make sure you weren't having a barrel issue, and he says your barrel's like it's nice and tight because there's no sign of any real wear in it. And when he says you don't shoot it too much, I go, that's not true. And that's how it all started with the zinc. I said I used to shoot a lot of lead and then follow with some jacket to help clean it. I said, but once I started with the zinc stuff, all I know is that I said my barrels are clean in all my guns. So zinc was, that's the other thing. Zinc was used to clean black powder cannons. That's another thing. That's all history. So it works for me. Again, for the guys that don't do it, don't cast any because you don't have the equipment to do it. I mean, you need definitely a different pot. And those pots are not readily available to bottom pour pots, the old Seikos and the old Lymans. They're far and few between, and so that makes it hard for most people. And using a dipper, that's you can. I started with my zinc that way for test purposes. You can't compare the difference in the quality of the bullet when you're using the bottom pour, but now I have like 4 of those pots, so and they're all rebuilt, sitting there just in case. But I enjoyed it. Just think, you got to. It's so much to it. You're sizing it the same as a jacketed bullet. Okay, there's no lubrication involved. Okay, so you cast, you size, you shoot. There's nothing else involved. It's very clean to handle. Compared to handling even powder coated. But once you get it powder coated, before that point, you're dealing with lead all the time. Stuff. So the zinc is totally different. So that's my 3 cents.
There's a lot of guys that don't know about zinc that are shooting traditionally lubed lead bullets, and they'll use copper jacketed bullets or factory bullets to do what you're talking about. But then you got to deal with the copper. So
yep,
yeah. So good points and good information there, Andy. I appreciate that. So Gene, what are you using for solvents?
Well, my basic solvent that I use for basic gun cleaning is ye old Hoppies number 9. I do really like Lucas products. I use Lucas light and heavy duty gun oil. If it's going to be in the summertime out hot on the range, not 85, 90 degree day, I'll use the Lucas Extreme. In the wintertime, going to be shooting indoors and stuff a lot. I like the light duty. I also use Sig Sauer Spec 1 on my pistols on my range. I do really like Lucas bore solvent for a little bit tougher action. I really like this stuff. It smells decent and it does a good job. I've used it on my pistols and my rifles. Chamber cleaning. If I get a chamber that's really, really bad, PB blaster.
Yep, that's another one that works.
Shoot.
I
don't let it run down into the barrel, but I'll get it up into the chamber and let it sit.
Guys,
God, I hate the way that stuff smells.
It's horrible smell, but that's the best thing that I have found that's around me to clean chambers. And you can get a magnifying glass or whatever and see the corrosion in there and run a little PB blaster, let it sit for a few, swab it back out, brush it out, and look and it's gone.
I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to grab a can of stuff that Kenny, Eagle Eye Shooting, told me about a couple of years ago. I just can't remember the name of it. And this stuff really cleans. I forgot the name of it. I'll be back in a little bit.
Oh, and Gene, PB blaster works good on your knees too.
I'm not that shy of money, Kyle. My paycheck's pretty good.
I've been around that stuff for a long time.
I got a raise last month. I'm doing all right.
So Edward Petty and talking about I've used CFE pistol and I've used CFE 223, but I've not used them enough to notice any difference. And Tommy Boy brings up AMSOL products.
With that, you saying CFE pistol, Jamie, that's what I've loaded Miss Hotshot's pistol with for the last couple of years is CFE pistol. She likes a little bit of a snappier recoil. I don't know why, but she does, and that gives it to her. But in cleaning her pistols, I'm not noticing any copper fouling. And I load her a lot of 124 grain jacketed projectiles. So, and I haven't noticed any copper fouling using that CFE pistol.
So Brooke says new shiny squeak-free knees would be good. I recommend either Ballistol or Aerocroil. Soak them knees before you go to bed every night. Let it stay on there. Don't do that, Brooke. I'm just kidding.
I
Rub
was
it in
wondering where you
good.
were going with that.
Yeah.
Rub it
Kentucky
in
Room
good.
Fire. What are you using for solvents, brother?
Run through this, and then it'll be time for me to get off here. So my dad and I started mixing Ed's Red years ago. We usually mix it up and split it amongst ourselves, and then I buy these little squeeze bottles and give it away, share it with my friends at the range. My 22s, I usually run the Ed's Red through it on patch and let it soak. Then I'll run some dry patches through. If I'm still seeing carbon buildup and lead, then I'll foam the barrel with the Hoppy's Elite foam, and I'll run some brushes through it and do a final scrub on it with that, and that usually takes care of it. For copper, I use Pro Shot Copper Solvent IV, which works pretty good.
I've got that. Yeah, at the shop. Yeah.
And for lube, I use Lucas Gun Oil, and then a member of our range works for Kentucky Fuels, and they took a bottle of the gun oil that Team Glock uses. They took it and done an oil analysis on it and copied it. So it's not branded, but I get a clone of Glock's gun oil, and this stuff works really well. And I put it in one of these little squeeze needle bottles. And then lastly, I bought this just to rub behind my ears at night.
There you go.
Yes. I've been in
They'll
the
bring the women running.
That's right.
So we're in luck that we just got lucky tonight that we picked a topic that you were going to talk about, and you had all your stuff laid out there. I saw.
I got everything laid out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope my show goes like yours, and maybe I'll get 2 segments out of the cleaning.
Yeah, we're right now. We're probably going to be talking about the trouble of stuff next week. Andy's got some stuff for us to look at. You taking off, brother?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm getting ready to jump off and go ahead and get the green room opened up and get my stuff in order for my show. And
Well, as you're leaving, would you do me a favor?
what's that, brother?
Would you put a link to your live stream that starts right after us in the comment section?
Hey, Lord, you're asking me to be tech savvy.
And I will pin it to the top of the comments, and everybody can see it. And then we're fixing to do the verse of the week after these 2 guys talk about their solvents, and they'll be able to see it and come join you.
You want me to put it in the private chat?
No, put it in the side chat, and I'll pin it.
Okay.
Look at Jamie being all tech savvy.
yeah. This is what Kenny Eagle Eye told me about in a chat. It's called Free All, and this stuff is expensive, but I'll tell you what. I spray the cylinders, the front of my revolvers with this stuff. Let it sit for about 15 minutes, and wipe the stuff right off.
Very cool.
Okay, it's
Hurt your bluing at all?
what?
Will it hurt
No,
your bluing at all? No.
It hasn't so far. Okay, so Kenny's, he was talking about this for about 20 minutes one night, and he uses this on all the repair work he does and stuff for getting in there and cleaning the barrels and getting the junk out of it. It's a penetrating oil, but it's you don't need a lot of it. It works really good. That's it. That's all I got for you. I didn't want to take the time up. I just couldn't remember the name of it.
Okay, thanks. That's good stuff. I mean, that's kind of in the vein of Arrow Crawl. So I reckon that we need to get to Mr. Mark down there and tell us about what solvents he's using.
Well, we've had hoppies on the bench for years. That's always worked good. I have become pretty fond of ballistol, both for smokeless powder and black powder. Mix that together with water and make moose milk. Does a real good job. I did get that bottle of, what was it, Professor Pew, and I've used that. It's not a go-to necessarily, but it's there on the bench. And as far as what I put behind my ears when I would want to attract a lady, I like bacon grease.
Oh,
That attracts the kind of girls I want.
I
That'll do it too.
I used this Freeol when I was fixing up my Model 36 and the light surface rust. This stuff took it right off. Okay, with Triple O's steel wool just took it right off. It was great.
That does sound like Aerocurl. Yeah.
The stuff was really good. I mean, it doesn't say like it's ammonia free or whatever, but I don't know. Okay.
Very good.
But it works. All right, with that, I'm going to bail out anyway. Everybody have a great night. I'll be in the side chat for a little bit.
Thank you,
All right,
Andy.
Andy.
Good night,
Good night,
Andy.
Andy. Not Andy.
All right, you done, Mark? What else you got?
Nah, I'm done. That's good.
Ballistol, Professor Pew. You ain't got no Edge Red.
You know, I've been meaning to make some of that up. I just have not gotten around to it.
Well, let me tell you, once you do make it, it'll be a lifetime supply.
Yep. Good.
And it's not as cheap to make as it used to be, but it's time for our verse of the week, so let's get to it. And I hope Andy and Hillbilly will back me up here. Last week we started, somebody's at the back door. It's Texas 6. Come on in here, my brother.
Turn the mic or camera on.
There he is.
Hey,
Hey, Tex.
All right, before I get to the verse of the week, what's your favorite solvents?
just about everything that everybody said. I like the Extreme Cowboy blend for cleaning the barrels, really good. And I've got some Lucas. I got some Polydyne that's made right here, not far from my shop. And I got a few others.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. I'm just stuck on the Edge Red thing. But anyway, y'all remember last week we started talking about the 7 I am statements in John's gospel that were made by Jesus. The second I am statement is in both John chapter 8, verse 12, and John chapter 9 and verse 5. And we'll look briefly at both of those two and talk a little bit about them. But a little bit of intro. John chapter 8, and I will tell y'all that I know it shouldn't, and I know I shouldn't say this, but John chapter 8 is absolutely my favorite chapter in all of Scripture. And if you read it and study it, you'll know why. But it starts with Jesus is teaching in the temple, and it's happening right after the Feast of Tabernacles, and that was in chapter 7. And he gets in arguments with the Pharisees and the Sadducees like he was apt to do. But John chapter 8 starts with Jesus teaching in the temple. And later in the chapter, we find out that he's actually teaching in the treasury. And David Guzik says that he's actually in the courts. And the chapter kind of starts with the story of the woman caught in adultery, as the Pharisees say, in the very act. And I like I said, I absolutely love this chapter, and I love this story. And we should study that sometime. But in verse 10 of John chapter 8, her accusers had left, and only the accused, the woman, Jesus, and his students that he had been teaching to are left. And Jesus asked her, "Woman, where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you?" She said, "No one, Lord." And Jesus said to her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." And that reminds me of John chapter 3 and verse 17, right after Jesus says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." He says he didn't come into the world to condemn the world, but that through him the world might be saved. So when we hear a lot of bad stuff about Jesus, remember, he didn't come to condemn us, he came to save us. So now we're to the verse of the week, and I know that's too much. Then Jesus spoke to them again, saying, "I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life." Uh, so this statement uh, fires off an exchange between Jesus and the Pharisees that is absolutely my favorite passage in all of Scripture. And like I said before, this happens right after the Feast of the Tabernacles. So if we take the arrangement of John's Gospel and in the common text, the incident of the woman caught in adultery interrupted Jesus as he taught in the temple courts. And they did this to purely embarrass and humiliate this woman and put Jesus on the spot. But that's a different story.
Yeah,
So
they were
when
trying to
Jesus,
trap him.
yeah, they're trying to trap him. But you notice it says Jesus went to kneel down and started writing
Hmm.
in the soil. We could talk half the night about that.
Yep.
So I'm the light of the world. The light was an important symbol of the Feast of Tabernacles, and I think that's why Jesus here uses that term. I am the light of the world. During the feast, many emblems and ceremonies remembered the pillar of fire that gave light to Israel during the Exodus. Y'all remember that? And now Jesus took this important symbol and simply applied it to himself. I am the light of the world. That phrase "I am," the whole reason we're doing this series, "I am" is a big deal, and I encourage you to find out why. So some of the commentators uh, kind of connect this with the illumination of the temple, where um, they light two big golden chandeliers in the court of the women, and they said that it lit up the whole city of Jerusalem, and then they had a festal dance by the light, and so this was the big deal here is a strong and eloquent contrast to the darkness that was opposing Jesus at the time. Those who just brought that woman who was caught in adultery is the main thing that pops into mind. Uh, but there's a commentator named Morris, and he says that "I am" is emphatic. It is the very style of deity which we have seen employed before in the Gospels. So I encourage you to check out "I am," and you can start in Exodus chapter 3. Uh, Jesus goes on to say, who follows me shall not walk in darkness. So Jesus brings the light of the world, and he brings light to people like me that used to walk in darkness, and I don't have to anymore, and you don't have to either. A quote from Spurgeon there. If a man could travel so fast as always to follow the sun, of course he would always be in the light. If the day should ever come when the speed of the railway shall be equal to the speed of the world's motion, then a man may so live as to never lose the light. Now he that follows Christ shall never walk in darkness. And a couple of Old Testament references. One of my favorites, Psalm 19:105, and I have a picture of a lighthouse with this with this verse on it. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. And then Psalm 43:3. Oh, send out your light and your truth. Let them lead me. And David Guzik there says, Jesus is the Word. John 1:1. I am the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And Jesus is that Word. So it makes perfect sense that He is also the light. So that's all I got about that. What do y'all got questions or comments?
I'll say a couple things about this. I'm kind of with Jamie. This chapter's got some stuff in it, and there's a few passages in here that you've all heard. This is the chapter that gave rise to let he amongst you who is without sin cast the first stone. Okay, this is the chapter where that came from, and you know, a little bit more of the backstory. So Jesus is in the temple here, and he's talking to folks, and all of a sudden these Pharisees bring this woman in, and their sole purpose apparently for doing that is they wanted to try to trap Jesus and get him to admit that he wasn't who he said he was. And that's part of what's going on in this chapter. And they said, well, Moses, you know, the lawgiver said, we're supposed to stone, you know, this woman. And what do you say about that? And Jesus he's cool here. He kind of kneels down and he starts drawing a little bit in the dirt. No, that doesn't say in there what he was writing, but he's writing something in there, and there's all kinds of conjecture about what it was. And he stands back up and he says, you know, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. And he bends down again, writes till the morning, he stands up, and all those guys are gone. They split. They said, we're not going to stand for this. And that's when he asked the woman, said, who among you has accused you? And she's basically saying, none of them. They took off, you know.
They're gone.
And as soon as they heard you say that, and then later on they asked him, well, they said, hey, you know, you're kind of tooting your own horn here, and what you're saying about yourself probably isn't true. And he said, it is true. He said, it's true that I toot my own horn, but what I'm telling you is true. And they ask him, and this is a big point to me, they ask him, well, then who are you? And he said, I'm the same that I always have, the same that I was from the beginning. And I am the light.
The great I am.
Yep. It's actually, there's a lot of good stuff in this chapter, you know, verse after verse after verse. It's kind of an action-packed chapter, actually.
It is. It's great, guys. You can't write a movie better than John chapter 8. Let me say one more thing, and I'm gonna get to you, Hillbilly. John chapter 9, verses 4 and 5. So they walk by this dude, and this is right after this big argument that we're talking about in John chapter 8. This guy's been blind since he was born, and the disciples ask him, who sinned, him or his parents, that he was born blind? They think everything bad that happened is as a direct results of sin back in the day. And Jesus says, neither him nor his parents sinned, but that the work of God may be revealed in him is the reason he was born. In other words, this man was born blind, been blind from the day he was born till now, so that God's work can be revealed in him. That's how God works.
Yeah, it's not necessarily bad. It's just bad for, you know, what we think because everybody else has it. But it's meant for him to be to be this way.
And check this out. John 9, verses 4 and 5. I must work the work of him who sent me while it is day. The night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. So Jesus, you know, reasserts the same message. I am the light of the world. All right, Hillbilly, what you got?
Well, one thing, what people, you know, need to keep an open mind to is, you know, the book of the cycles. I mean, each person's like seen and wrote different, and like I think John's a very good writer. I mean, Revelations, all that. His stuff has always seemed like really solid and a good straight to the face point, as on his writings, and I really like that. The light and dark is talked about so much through the Bible, um, and it, like I said, it references this, and um, you know, where there's light, there can't be dark, and that's something that we still to today. You walk into a dark room, pitch black, you can't see a hand in front of your face. You turn a light on, that light, that darkness disappears. It cannot overcome the light, and I think that still holds so much true meaning today if you look at it like that. And which it's been said, you guys have talked about it too, but yeah, reference to I am, that's some they all should have known when he said, I am, what that means. And I seen Bam and Dad put it out there, even back to Moses, when he said, well, what shall we call you? And I am. So there's a lot of very strong references to the Bible in this verse and everything. And so, yeah, I think it's great, and I hope that people. One thing that anybody takes away from this is, no matter how dark and things might look around you, uh, you know, there is light, and that will take away the darkness.
Yep.
Amen.
Yep. Paul talks about it, the same kind of thing in his letters to the Corinthians as well. He's kind of saying in some of those passages, hey, don't worry about your house that was made with your hands. He said, if all of that stuff blows away, you've still got a home in God. You've still got a house not made out of hands. It's made out of God. And then you're always going to be safe there. And yeah, it's all throughout, that same message.
Yeah. The light runs away. The darkness runs from the light.
There you go.
Darkness cannot overpower the light. Like once you walk in the room and turn that light switch on, buddy, unless the bulb's blown, the dark is gone. Period.
Yep.
Period. All right, let's start going through the room and make room for our buddy Chad, Kentucky Rimfire. Kyle, why don't you go first, buddy? We've been missing you, man. Good to have you with us this evening.
I've been missing y'all. It's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad I could make it. Hello to all the side chat. I see it's popping over there. Having to use my phone for the side chat, but everything's been going good. Wife's healing up good. Everything's just going. So we're just going to keep on going.
I hear you, buddy.
Very good. Very good. We had 53 over there in that side chat at one point tonight, Kyle. Mark, what you got coming up this week, my brother?
Well, I don't know that I have much coming up. Been pretty busy with school. Been pretty busy with my boy. Track season started last week, and boy, he's doing well. It feels like it's right there on the heels of the wrestling season, but we're keeping it up in school. And the end of the third marking period is the 28th of this month, so the last quarter always goes super fast. Just expecting things to start getting brighter and starting to bloom, get a little bit warmer. When I do get that new pistol in my hands, definitely gonna do some loading for it and take it to the range. So we'll get that when I do. Well, that won't be this week, but it's been great to be here. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to see our brother Kyle here. So just everybody take care. Have a good weekend. we'll see you. Thank you.
Brother, I'm here to tell you that Contender's going to start a brand new addiction for you.
You sure will.
See what we done, Ricky? See what we done?
Yeah.
I told
Yeah.
CW there's a shop down the road that has a 357 Harriet barrel. I was looking at that before. Now I have a good use for it.
Yep.
We'll see.
That's awesome. So 6, man, we missed you. Sorry it got crowded and you couldn't get in.
That's all right. Was taking care of some stuff. I was at the dealership and they was dragging their feet. So anyway, it's been a good week for us. Last Saturday we picked us up a RV. So
Very good. I know you've been saving for that for a while.
yeah, we had a good financial week this week too, and some other things going on. So we in the morning, me and my better half in there, we're going to start a new adventure. We're going to open up another YouTube channel. So we're going to start doing some filming tomorrow. So
Cool.
I'll let y'all in on that once we get it all set up and going. So it's going to be a fun little project with her. So that's what we got going on. We got some cowboy practice in the morning too, before we go to the meet. We leave Wednesday night to go to a 4-day match over in Columbus, Texas.
We have a Columbus, Georgia, too.
Oh yeah, there's Columbuses everywhere.
That's where Fort Benning is. Man, I'm glad you made it in, dude. Friday wouldn't be the same if I didn't get to see 6. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Rebel, what you got coming up, bro?
Well, just getting ready for, like I say, the groundhog shoot. I'm lacking on help. I'm struggling to get scores. I've got one guy online that's ready to go, and I need a backup guy. It's a pretty fast-paced match. I'm probably going to slow it down. Pray for me. I just don't have the help that I had last year, and I've got to pull this thing off, and this might be the last year I do it, and a lot of people are going to hate that because it's a match people are really near and dear to. I get a lot of comments about it. I've got a lot of calls about it. Are y'all running it this year? Yeah. You know, I've had a partner. He's Chad, who's in a wheelchair, and he's had some problems due to lack of circulation in his legs. He's a paraplegic, and he's usually my Facebook guy. You know, this, that, back and forth, and so I haven't advertised it enough. I keep remembering stuff I need to do every day. I'll spend the whole weekend. And I've got a new boat. I'm dying to go fishing. I'm really dying to go fishing on my new boat, and I've got to get this stuff ready. I don't have enough time in the day. And just pray I have enough people to help me out with this and to pull it off, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's adapt and overcome time. Jamie, your verse of the week hit close to home. I read John a lot. I witness here a lot. I've not always been the clean cut, wonderful man you see before you. And I have 3 kids by 3 different women, and I was married to 2. So the whole thing about Jesus looking at an adulteress caught in the act which sure sentence would be death back in those days.
Absolutely.
Death. I mean, absolute death, a horrible death. And he just writes it off. He's like, "Hey, come to me," and he looks at all the rest of the people and says, "You people are hypocrites," and everybody leaves the room. That particular scripture changed my life and ended up making me cope with some of the things I've done and I'm not necessarily proud of, but oh Lord. Anyway, I own it, and I tend to witness here a lot, and I know it makes people uncomfortable, but hey, we're all human, and we do stupid stuff and do bad stuff, and God's forgiveness is a wonderful thing. It washes over you like a hot shower. It's wonderful. So that's all I got to say.
Well, thanks, brother. Crash gave us a good compliment right there. We'll put that up there while we ask Brother Gene what he's got coming up this week.
Well, Brother Gene is thankful to be here this evening. Thankful to spend some time with my brethren. Love you all, brothers. Side chat. Crash just said, "Man, I'm so glad y'all do this every week. I still look forward to every Friday. I don't know any of you, but I still consider you all friends." Very important. Very important. Like Rebel, I'm so happy to build such good, solid brothers and friends around this community. Very grateful.
Amen.
It's been absolutely wonderful. I've had the pleasure of meeting quite a few in person and getting to know them and breaking bread. And I feel very blessed to have done that. And we'll be doing that very soon again. Going to have much more bread breaking sessions. Let's see. Tomorrow morning, I have to be in Columbus, Ohio.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
That's our state capital, Columbus, Ohio. So I got to be there in the morning. Take a little trip over there. And man, I just wish everybody a great, blessed weekend. It's only once around the ride. So you got to remember to keep a blowing the smoke.
There it is.
Amen. Thank you for being here, brother. Walter, what you doing this week?
Well, just kind of a lot of the same old. My one of my sisters is in the area. I'm going to go have lunch with her in a little town up the coast, about 60 miles. I haven't seen her in a couple of months, so that'll be nice to get in and do that. And we started yet another Viejo series today on both YouTube and Rumble on the 45 Schofield and the whole. They did an introduction thing. They're at stories there. You can go watch that if you're interested in that round. And so the first of that went up today. And next week we'll have another Wadcutter Wednesday and a Free the Few Friday. And it's going to probably be a nice week. I'm going to get to the range on Monday and just do some fun shooting. Probably not even take my video cameras with me this time. For a change, just go shoot some stuff and then come home and clean guns with all them cleaning products that we talked about. But I'm very appreciative of the offer every week to come and join the panel. It's something that I do look forward to every Friday night. It's a big deal for me, as Crash has said earlier. We consider ourselves a big family here, and it's good for me, and I appreciate our segments from Gene and Jamie both, that we added here a few months ago. I think they've brought, big measures of improvement to the channel. And to the chat. It's just really fun to see what Gene's got and see what Jamie's got up his sleeve for the verse of the week. I get a lot out of that. I'm like all the rest of us. Every once in a while, I'll start straying, and then I feel this long arm of Jamie coming over, and he grabs me and pulls me right back every Friday night. Just when I think I'm out there, pull me back in. So anyway, yeah, it is a big deal, folks. I'm happy to be here. So we hope to see you around the internet on both my YouTube and Rumble channels. And until next week, that's it for me. Where are we at? We down to we up there?
Mr. Kyle Lusk.
Oh, we're at Kyle Lusk. What's happening, Kyle?
Kyle went first.
He went first, didn't he? Yeah,
Look at there.
that's right.
So it's CW's time.
It's CW time.
I want to thank everybody for being here in the side chat as well. Really active night. And from one that Jamie texted me this morning, I don't know if it's going to be big enough. We can finish it all. So yeah, it's big enough. We did pretty good, and we got a lot covered, and we got a lot of good information, and threw a lot of names out there for folks to try different products and stuff that we knew about that worked, and good thing all around. For myself, I got a big week coming up. I've got 6 videos, one each day out of the next 7. Nothing on Sunday, but 6 videos coming out, and I got that Grail that I talked about is going to be up tomorrow. Let's see here. What did I got it up here in front of me here? Where is my date? It is going to be starting tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. Look forward to that. And I had a good time shooting it, and it's pretty neat. Pretty neat fun. So with that, thanks all for being here. Jamie, how was yours? What do you got coming up?
I've got so many videos I want to make. I've got a range trip planned for Monday with my son and hopefully Ricky Baird, and I'm sure there'll be some videos coming from that. Other than that, we hope the Lord blesses y'all all real good, and if he's willing, we'll see y'all next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say good night, y'all.
God bless
Good
everyone.
night, y'all.
Good night, y'all.